now I'm actually his best man at his upcoming wedding. And this guy has been rocking it in the corporate world for a long time, but he's recently released a podcast called Win the Talent War. We'll talk a little bit about that, his journey, his experience at social media marketing world. Ryan Kellogg, join us here today, brother.
JLD.
My man, grab that mic,
Great to see you.
Put it up in that mouth, and give us a little rundown of who you are and your launch of Win the Talent War.
Well, John, thanks enough for having me today. I really appreciate that. What many of you may not know is John and I we did go to Providence College together. I was fortunate enough to live for 2 years in the same exact room as this character. But after college, we both were actually deployed, or we were commissioned as second lieutenants in the U.S. Army, which was a fantastic experience. Our time actually overlapped by about 6 months in Fort Lewis, Washington. We had a fantastic time there, but our paths at that point split. And believe it or not, for about 5 years, John and I spoke maybe via email here or there, which was, I felt a void in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm dead inside.
Yep. But post the Army, decided to get out, and that was a very interesting experience for me. I didn't really know what to do with myself. I was stationed in Germany and the Middle East for quite a while, and getting out, it was like, all right, what do I do now? I went from leading troops in combat to leading my remote control on my parents' couch. And it was a humbling experience. So I did what anyone else did. I leaned back to our Providence College network and decided that, it might make sense for me to dive into corporate America. And over the course of a 7 to 8 year period of time, I found myself working for a Fortune 500 company and kind of rose through the ranks, found myself as a middle manager in charge of about 25 different people in the New York metropolitan area. And I was charged as the sales director, the leader of operations and marketing in New York for this Fortune 500 company. I thought, wow, I've got a ton of responsibility. This is going to be an awesome experience. And just come to realize over the course of the next 2 years of my life, I spent almost all of my time buried in a pile of resumes this high, sorting through resumes, vetting these individuals, trying to fill 4 or 5 different positions, where 20% of my time was spent focused on creating vision, guidance for all of those that worked for me, which obviously was not the right way to do things. And I was on this proverbial hamster wheel that just kept going and going and going. And at that point, I realized, this is not for me. I'm totally underwhelmed. I have no control over losing my employees. There was a tremendous amount of turnover, which was frustrating. So I did what anyone else decides to do when they're frustrated with their job in their mid-30s. I went and got my MBA. And it wasn't until my MBA program that I realized, one, I'm not alone. I was experiencing a lot of the same things that a lot of our leaders out there, our middle managers are experiencing from a turnover rate, from an HR standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint. But I also had a lot of like-minded veterans who worked with me at Fordham in New York City that, we should do something about it. So for about a year, after we said we should do something about it, we complained about it. And then finally, we decided, let's start a platform where we're interviewing individuals that are experiencing the same exact things that we are on a daily basis. So that was the thesis behind the Win the Talent War podcast. And what my podcast does on a weekly basis, we interview HR executives, C-suite individuals, entrepreneurs like John that are leading employees and get an idea of how they're attracting, retaining, developing their top talent, how they're driving a positive corporate culture, what they're doing to enhance employee experience, employee engagement, and it's been a ton of fun. We've really enjoyed ourselves.
So what I love that Ryan's done, he experienced the fact that there was something that was missing in his world. He saw a void that wasn't being filled by anybody. So he said, hey, why not be that person, step into that void, create something that's gonna add value to somebody and create that value on a consistent basis. And this is the consistency guy right here. I mean, I'm a daily show. This guy's consistency as well. We kind of mix and match in that way. But you came to Social Media Marketing World 2017 and you didn't really know what to expect. I mean, you're like, I'm coming into my first entrepreneurial conference ever, really. You've been to conferences before, but nothing quite like this. So what was your experience at Social Media Marketing World, and give us your number one takeaway?
So the word that I think describes it to me was energy, a ton of energy. Everyone was very positive, upbeat, which was great, and open and willing to network. It's kicked it off with this amazing keynote speaker who talked about, trends in the industry, where we're headed. But it was followed up by a skit, using the Wizard of Oz as a theme, which I love, to really push the importance of networking and driving relationships. And it's only been 3 days since that day, and the amount of people that I have not only met, but have routinely talked to over the course of that small period of time that are here tonight is unbelievable. And those are people that I'm going to lean on, that I'm going to talk to and work with as mentors to help drive my business, help drive my podcast, and really hopefully be successful down the line, but leaning on them. So community and energy would be my 2 words, and positivity that helped me understand what social media marketing world's all about.
So there's one thing that I hope Ryan learned throughout this was to end with a strong call to action, a CTA. So how can our viewers find out more about you and get on the Ryan Kellogg bandwagon?
Well, first, you can check out the Win the Talent War podcast. Our website is WOTPod.com. That's WOTPOD.com. Stands for War on Talent Podcast. Check us out. Check me out on iTunes. You can get a better idea of what we're doing to drive that business. We interview anywhere from Fortune 500 companies, large organizations, down to small startup groups that are working with different types of VAs to help implement their employee stance. So check us out, Win the Talent War podcast.
Mic down, hands up, bring it in, brother. Way to rock it.
Yeah.
Love it, like a brother.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Peace.